G'day everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to Q&A with Whitey. Thanks for joining us today. Don't know what happened to our audio there on the video, so apologies for that. We'll work that one out for next time. But I trust you're all going well. Make sure you've got your coffee ready. We're going to have a great chat shortly with Nomiki. But in the meantime, trust you've been keeping well. But the year is disappearing quicker than ever. So it's great to be able to get everybody together today to actually have a bit of a chat about markets and some interesting pieces within our industry that we need to have a really good focus and grip on. So anyhow, we'll enjoy that. It'll be great fun. But in the meantime, what we better do is say thank you to our sponsors for supporting us. They do a great job in making sure that we're keeping everything free to our members. And so our thanks go to AAMC, Affordable Staff, ALI, Amfin, Credit Fix Solution, Early Pay, Finstro, Heartland Reverse Mortgages, Insurance AdvisorNet for all your PI needs, Notify, OnDeck, OptiPay, Pepper Money, Prosper, Strive Financial, and Trailbook Loans. Thanks for your support, everyone. All righty, let's get into it. So I'd like to welcome Nomiki Georgiadis. Where are you, Nomiki? There you are.
I'm here.
Hi, Nomiki. How are you?
Good, thanks, Peter. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking some time out and being with us. I'm going to have a very interesting chat around business systems and their systemizations and marketing and automation systems. So an area of specialization for yourself. But before we get to any of that, let me understand the journey of Nomiki. How did you get to do what you're doing today? We'll talk about the rest of it later, but what did you do when you left school and what happened on that journey? Tell me about it.
Talk about convoluted journey. It's like going, round and up in different loops. So when I left school, well, I went into university because I thought all I ever wanted to be was a scientist. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
In what field?
So biological sciences. I majored in immunology and biochemistry. And
serious? You could have protected us from COVID. Come on.
Well, interestingly, so I did my honours year in a certain research project and then went on to work in the lab for one of the other labs. I suppose I had a couple of forks. One was, go in and do that work and be a scientist, which is what I wanted. And then there was a fork of, well, do you want to continue being a student because I was offered a PhD, or do you want some money? And I wanted money to travel. So I chose the job, and we worked on the HIV virus back then. It was awesome. It was incredible. Yeah, it was all cutting edge and new because that's what was happening back then. We're talking, I'm pretty old, so it was a while back.
No, that's very cool because we were talking briefly beforehand. I mean, when I was in high school as a kid, I learned to fly planes before I could drive a car, and I always planned to be a commercial pilot.
Amazing.
Didn't work out that way for a whole host of other things, but it's always interesting, what happened. So yeah, forget me. It's all about you. So what happened after that? So you decided that money was going to rain because you wanted to travel. I can understand that.
No, I got that. I did travel. That wasn't a problem. What was a problem was, it's funny when you get to something you love and then you realize I don't love it anymore. And I started to hate the job. And the reason is we were doing cutting edge research. We needed to involve animals, and I couldn't do anything more with mice and rabbits. So let's kind of leave it there. And I thought I did want some more people interaction. I wanted something where I could interact. And I had a bunch of friends say, why don't you join the pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah.
Now, I instantly thought, well, I can't sell. Why would I go there? And they said, just explore it. So I did. There was an HR company that was a recruitment company, and they did a bit of a training course. So I got into the pharmaceutical industry, was trained up in sales, studied marketing, did my master's in marketing, and went down a completely different path, which I'd never thought I'd do.
So that was in pharmaceuticals?
That was pharmaceuticals. But while I studied marketing, I loved what I saw in marketing and the consulting. And I thought one day I'm going to run a consulting business and support businesses with marketing. So that was
where you landed.
Yeah, and that's where I landed.
How long have you been doing this for now? So the marketing thing.
We started it up 2010 and just sort of slowly in its infancy and sort of took off. I did have to shut my business down. If you want to be really transparent here, I had to shut my business down in 2016. So I had a group of clients and income and all that sort of stuff, and I had a major health project.
Yeah.
So I had to say goodbye to everything and focus on surviving and living and saying, okay, well, if I do rebuild, I'm going to do it differently, you know, and that's
Can we talk about that just for a sec? Because I think that's a really important piece for people. So we've got around 300 people around the country registered for this conversation. Not everybody will join on the day, but they'll watch the video at some point in time. We know that happens, but everyone is a small business person. And, you know, when you go on the small business adventure, not everything works out the way you plan. And sometimes you've got to be, I guess, adult enough to sort of go, I got to handbrake this and sort stuff out before I keep going. Are you able to share just a little bit more on that? Was it completely that business you just stopped and wasn't going to do it? Did you then go into something completely different? Or was it, you know, like a restart almost of the same thing?
It was a restart.
So
yeah, totally.
No,
we haven't. We haven't. So no, I had to focus on surviving. And you know, I didn't know what things would look like on the other end. And this is another note on this topic that we're talking about today, systemizing your business. You know, I felt that vulnerability of, holy crap, my business totally relies on me. And that's what happened back then. It totally relied on me and I could only shut it down. So I did. And then when I said, okay, if I get a chance to restart it, it's going to be done differently. And that's where I took systems and systemizing more seriously.
Well, kudos to you, because that's a big thing to do, to shut everything down and then try and rethink, what does V2 look like as such? And is it V2 or is it just, you know, 101 of something completely different? That's a big and hard step to take. So again, kudos to you for that. And I think that's an important thing. And this brings the importance, I guess, and relevance of what we're going to talk about in a sec to everyone that's watching this, to understand that sometimes when things aren't going to plan, you just go shut up shop, and then sit and rethink exactly where the issues are and work through how you're going to successfully progress forward from there. So not an easy thing to do. So there you go. Very interesting. So let's then take that step from having to reset into, you know, what are the issues and you know, the challenges, I guess, that revolve around businesses and their systems, and how to systemize that, you know, how to get that systemization into their business and what that sort of looks like. And you know, I guess the burning question in one respect is that if systemization is so good, why aren't more people doing it? Is it just they just don't know, or scared?
It falls into several categories. One is they don't know where to start. And so sometimes it just becomes too overwhelming and they don't make a start at all. Other times I see them make a start and they've tried to start in a place that doesn't give enough impact. So they might start with some admin systems. I had a client I was working with and they decided that it was important to figure out how to change the ink in the printers and create a system around that in the office. And I'm going, no, it's not going to shift the needle enough.
You get a shotgun and shoot the machines, it's no good. There's got one there that probably needs to be replaced.
You boot your printer like I did and you go into Officeworks to get printing. But, you know, it's, you know, sometimes business owners think I've got to start with the obvious frustrations, you know, but it's not that. So they don't know. They've started in the wrong place and quite often they give up. Or, Peter, they sometimes forget to elevate. It's often on a business owner's to-do list. They know it's important, but they don't elevate it to that urgent category. And it's like important to do, and it gets shoved to the side. So I have conversations with them 18 months down the track, 2 years later, and nothing's moved. So they forget.
So is systemizing developing process documents, or is it different to that?
It is. It's that and more. So it is grabbing what's in everybody's head. So if you're a broker and you've got a small team,
in mine.
you've got all your procedures and processes that you know like this, and it's up here. And because you do it on autopilot, you think nothing of it. But if you were to replace yourself or get help in the business, that's where you need to offload what's here and have documented procedures and be able to offload, train staff, just get the support you need. Now, whether you're a solopreneur, solo business owner, broker, finance specialist looking to get that assistant in or someone else, or you've already got a team. Yeah.
So it's getting those procedural places. I've fortunately been able to get other people to do that for me, so I'm no good at that. And I apologise for the cough. I almost died of man flu the other week, and I was lucky to be a survivor, right?
I'm glad you survived.
I've still got this stupid damn cough that won't go away, so I apologise. Even now, then I'll mute myself or if I can catch it quick enough. So sorry for that.
No, all good.
Well, that's interesting because, like, I'm the world's worst with admin documentation. Right, that's not where my head lands. So I've got to have someone to do that. And I guess if you're a small business person or a micro business where you're on your own, I don't know how easy it is to do with yourself. But we might talk about that separately. So I can imagine, though, when I look at these things within the FBAA business, I sort of look at it and go, geez, I'm glad I'm not doing that. Right, because to me, it's really overwhelming. So how would you avoid that feeling of being overwhelmed by it? I'm lucky. I delegate, right? I don't have to do it, but it's a daunting task. And when you're stuck, because I've watched the journey of these things, and I think that's what scared me most about it, is it just seems to be never ending. There's quite a lot to be done. I don't know if there's a way to get rid of that feeling of being overwhelmed by it. Is it just chip away at it? What's the go with it?
There's a lot you can do. And first, I think you touch on a really important point. You're saying I'm not the best person, and you're not. Quite often the owner.
Thanks for the confirmation.
You're not. We're not. I happen to love systems. I'm a bit of a geek. I kind of fall into categories, but that's not normal. Usually the entrepreneur, the business owner, the driver of the business is usually the worst person to try and create those systems and document them, because you're driving it. You're the visionary. You've got all your ideas. And it does feel overwhelming trying to get them all together and on one space. So usually getting somebody else to do this for you is your best step. But when you said feeling overwhelmed, because it can be a daunting task, you kind of want to think of it in a contained area to start with. We like to start with the critical client flow, meaning you start looking at the systems that generate cash flow for the business first. And we start like with little boxes that form your systems. So if everyone wants to follow along visually, it's boxes that go across a page and down a page. You start with, how do you get inquiries coming in? So your marketing, your sales, your client onboarding, and then delivery, which is your loan process. What does that look like? And what are the details on the back end? And then how do you get repeat business? If you focus on those critical systems to start with, you've chipped away at maybe the 20 or 30% of your systems that will give you the 80% of results if you get that systemized and can hand that over to teams.
That's almost an 80-20 rule, yeah?
That's correct, yeah.
Gee, that dial never moves far in this industry. I don't know if it's, and you may have a better view on this than what I do, but within the broker space, the 80-20 rule almost never changes. You've got population densities, 80% East Coast, 20%, everywhere else. Our broker networks are 80% East Coast, 80% of the work's done by 20% of the people. The 80-20 rule's never far from us in anything. Now, even in this field.
But in this field, you can actually shift the needle. So I have been given permission to share Victor Lagos Financial, who did an awesome job. We worked together to systemize the bottlenecks of his business, and his assistant helped document those procedures. That assistant was also the one delivering a lot of that back-end work. And then that assistant went on to train some other team members. So he's able to relieve his own bottlenecks, grow his team and grow his business, step by step. And we started with, what are those critical systems? What are the 20 that are going to shift the 80%? And it's all.
So that leads to a burning question. What do you do first?
Yeah. Okay. So you want to start with picking a service or a product for a particular customer type. So again, one of the mistakes I see is, we're going to cover, home loans, residential, first home buyers, and lump them all in one category. You get much greater clarity if you start with a particular customer. So we're talking about someone applying for a home loan, right? Yeah. Instead of the investor. So you just want to start thinking about separating those and the systems that sit around first home buyer, investor, resi loan, commercial loan, and so on. Okay.
So depending on where your focus is in the market.
That's correct. Now you might service all of them, but one of them, if you're thinking, well, where do I start? Think first to yourself, which is the most profitable to my business, or where are the greatest bottlenecks that I need some assistance and support in? And that will give you, you know, the starting point. And then you want to look at all the systems that sit around what we just talked about earlier, those critical systems. And if it's bottlenecks or if it's profitability, then go for that vertical first in your critical systems, because then you'll notice again that maybe 60 to 80% of them are copy and paste across to the rest of the business. And then you have to fine tune. Does that make sense? Yeah. So there's a good chunk, like all your marketing and your, sorry, Peter, go on.
I was going to say, who's the best person to do that then? I guess it needs to be somebody who's across a lot of things, but has this administrative mind to step through process. Who's best to do that? What sort of person's that?
$1 million question. No, the $1 million question. And like I said, 9 times out of 10.
That's the answer to all this, really. Yeah. Because as you said, brokers and so on, the business people driving a business, but we've got to do this. Where's the best place to get it? You know, who's the right person to do it?
So let's talk about brokers who work on their own. Obviously, clearly you have no help, so you can consider hiring someone and noting the qualities you need. Someone who is detail oriented, communicates well, questions well, and then get them started. But if you've already got a team, there might be someone, only if you've got capacity in that team. So Victor had capacity with his team member. Right. But if you don't have capacity, you want to look at maybe hiring what we call a systems champion, someone who's going to come in and actually champion making sure these systems and procedures are documented. Over time, they're optimized. And, you know, you're getting version 1 out, version 2 out. And as the business grows, morphs and changes, that those updates are being made. That's a longer term strategy. So you either want someone on for a bit to begin with, part-time or full-time, or a team member with some capacity. And if they've got capacity and someone who's already in the business and knows it and they're happy and process-oriented, just pick someone who is process-oriented.
Most of it, we've been very lucky. We've had some people who are very process-driven. So the only thing at times is sometimes you get lost in the detail and somebody's got to pull back a little bit. So well, wait a sec, yes, but yeah, you need people like that. And if you don't have them and you don't, as you say, have capacity, then best thing is to hire an expert as such, not hire a hubby. They do other stuff.
Well, then you can layer. So we've talked about hiring someone in your team or a part-time assistant. They could be offshore. They could be local. It doesn't matter. But you just want to hire with the right attitude, mentality, and process direction. And then, of course, you can layer on expert support, like, you know, sort of what we do to help business owners. Yeah, that's next level. But yeah.
I guess a message for those that are listening as well is that if this is something you need to consider and you don't have the capacity or the resource internally, and maybe, you know, financially you may not be able to afford it either to get an external person to come and do it, speak to your aggregator. I'm fairly confident that your aggregator will have or should be able to find the capacity to help you out as well, to be able to get those processes in place. So there's several ways you can go about it depending on where you're at and what stage you're at in your business evolution. So I guess as you think about it, so it's sort of worked out how to get it done. You get it done. How do you get people to actually follow the procedures? Because I know quite often, and sometimes it's a problem even at board levels where you've got a monumental number of terms of references on all the obligations that you need to meet meet your corporate governance on. Sometimes you wind up, you think you're just putting all these things in a folder and nobody reads it. So when we're looking at this sort of systemization piece, how do you get people to follow the procedures? Because I know it's not easy.
No. So there's a couple of aspects. One is making the systems easy to access and easy to use. So well-documented, clear procedures with videos, because you know how some of us prefer reading and seeing things visually, others prefer to listen and watch.
Videos
give them
especially
videos.
Yeah, where AI is at the moment. I've seen some stuff we're doing. Some people who work with us have created videos off AI, and they just blow me away. I go, "That's pretty easy." I go, "How are you, seriously?"
Honestly, blowing me away the rate at which AI is. So that's another thing. Think about, you know, being an AI proactive broker in your business. That is key. But really, it's if you want to get people to follow procedures, give them a couple of ways to digest that information. So definitely written with screenshots, videos. If you're small and starting this, I suggest you get your team to start screen recording on a Zoom, get them to get on Zoom or Loom or something, Google Meet, whatever, and just record their screen while they're doing something. You can document it a bit later if you don't have someone to do that. But what it means is you're getting them involved. So you want some team buy-in. So if you've got a team, you want them to buy into what this is as a vision for the business. You've got to sell it to them in a way. You've got to say, when you take time off, you're not going to come back to that crazy massive workload because someone else has been able to step in, do some of that for you. So you can actually go away and relax and come back and not be stressed.
Can you do that? I go on holidays and come back and I feel more stressed with the amount of emails I got.
Well, that happens. And yet, you know, ideally there's a system in place to support that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. So getting the buy-in from the team and getting simple systems documented in several different ways gives them something tangible to use and work with clear links.
Yeah, they also feel a part of the process then too, I guess, you know, with that buy-in piece.
Yeah, that is key because, Peter, we can have the systems, but if people aren't there to execute them, nothing happens. So
it's
one remember that,
isn't it? Okay, so we do all this for all the right reasons. What's the risk of removing creativity of individuals? Excuse me, when we do this.
Yeah, I've had a few people raise that as a concern, that they think, oh, if we systemize everything, then there's no creativity allowed within, you know, for innovation and creativity in the team. I'm going to say to you that it may sound counterintuitive, but it actually helps with innovation and creativity and problem solving, even though it sounds counterintuitive, because what I see is teams and business owners actually free up creative thinking time and that headspace. So instead of making errors, fixing errors, going back to remind themselves what they needed to do when it's a monthly task or a quarterly task that you kind of forget the details of, you're removing errors, but you're also freeing up the time and the headspace. And it honestly opens up new solutions for problem solving.
Okay, I guess I guess the flow through that, backing off what you're saying, is that allowing people to have the buy-in of the process to develop the procedures, gets them thinking, and I guess getting there creatively, helping them to understand where are the issues and challenges. You know, it's not just a matter of, you do this, you do this. You may do, but you may also go, oh, but if we do it that way, this is actually going to work out better, and it's a more efficient process to go through. So you get that creative buzz going.
Yeah, you'll get that optimization happening much more easily when something's tangible and it's already documented. Yeah.
Nice. So we get all this in place. Let's talk about the next little piece around marketing and automation systems. And the one that's always a burning thing that comes up with me is the whole buzz around you got to get your SEO, your search engine optimizations right, and there's Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever it is. But I don't find a lot of people sort of get the tangible results, or maybe they don't know what to look for, or have just got the whole science of it wrong. So I guess in my mind, it is science. What is it? How do we deal with that sort of thing? It's so topical. It has been for a long time, about search engine optimization, Google ads or Facebook ads. And I don't know if people really get the results, or is there a way to really get the results?
Yeah, that's important, because equally, I actually see a lot of business owners that have been sold on SEO and ads, a lot of brokers specifically. but I see that they're actually not ready for it. So they've been sold on it. They know it's good. They know it's important, and it is. It's great. One's
I was about to say,
organic.
that does it work? I mean, even if you're not ready for it, there's no point
Not
traveling
if you're not ready
if it
for
just
it.
doesn't work.
No, that's right. Because if they're missing a few pieces, then it's kind of money down the drain. And I've seen it, and my heart goes out to them. So really, they're sending people to their main website. They're sending these SEO visitors and the ad visitors to their main website with no specific strategy and no particular way of capturing those leads and inquiries. So what they're doing is they think that person's going to go to their website and just automatically fill out the contact us page or automatically give them a call. Now that happens. It doesn't happen often enough. It'll happen with referrals because they're warm leads, but with cold traffic, it doesn't happen enough. And that's the problem. So I'm suggesting if you're a broker and you're sending them to your finance or loan calculator or to your website, you want to send them somewhere else. You want to capture their details in that calculator or somewhere, or better yet, have a unique offer like a value magnet or a lead magnet that actually captures them as a lead.
What's a value magnet?
Yeah, so a value, that's marketing lingo, and I'm sorry to throw that at you. What that is saying, well, look, there's all these calculators, but let me help you understand the process of the loan process for your next, say we're talking about next investment property. You've got one, you got a next one. You know, what does that look like for you, dear investor? And you put together either a checklist or a little, one-page cheat sheet or a mini few pages of some valuable information that investor's going to say, righto, that's a pain point. That's, they're questions I've got in my mind. You're offering me this checklist or this information in exchange for, say, a name and an email address. You know what? That's a low risk commitment. I don't have to call you. I don't have to fill out your contact us page, but I can get this resource. That's a value magnet, that resource that you're handing out. It could be a video.
Free bit of resource, but to get the free resource, you just got to give us your name and email address. So that starts to populate your capabilities of further, I guess, reaching out and doing business. Yeah.
Well, that then feeds what you can do is build out a whole marketing back-end system, because that's where, if you're sending ads and SEO, you're going to focus that messaging and that ad to be consistent with where they go to get that free piece of information.
It sounds like we need a process document for this.
Yep. It's a process.
But what we've talked about before, though, translates across, even though we're talking internal business process documents to start with, but now we look at the marketing and systemization and automation of the systems. It needs a process document as well to make sure that you're going through what you need, I would imagine.
Yeah, you touch on something really important, because when you actually build say a marketing system that has a lot of back-end automations and things are already set up, a lot of that is actually not a process you have to keep repeating. It's a case of, it's a set and forget system. That's an asset that's built. But what you need to do is manage it. You need to fuel it. You need to respond, and you're interacting with that, if that makes sense. I don't want to sort of muddy the water with that sort of conversation.
That's right. That's interesting things. And I guess this all helps to funnel everything down to get to something that's tangible that can then work from a lead generation point of view, I guess, off the back of those sort of structures.
Yeah, totally. You want, on the back end of that is a marketing funnel and a system that not only allows that inquiry and lead to be captured as an opportunity, but you then nurture them with automations. You can text them, email them. And generally you want, as a broker, to get them on a call. So you want a booked appointment and a meeting, and that elegant funnel and system will keep pointing them to booking a call and a meeting with you. That's the key.
Okay. So then that funneling into system, are we talking that system being like a CRM?
That's correct. Yeah, it's a CRM.
Most brokers would have one. So is this something different, like a marketing CRM or something like that needs to have a different emphasis or different capability, or what is it they need?
Spot on, Peter. So broker CRMs, awesome. And I've worked on the back end of a couple of them, different ones. They're perfect for managing the loan process and your customer, but they're not made for doing your marketing and your pre-selling and sales.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
two separate systems that you probably sort of need to join somewhere, but they have different functionalities.
That's correct. Yeah. You want a marketing CRM that does the marketing and the pre-sales and sales for you. So you want your prospects nurtured, and you want that automated as much as possible. And you want a great pipeline and a dashboard to see where your hot prospects are, where they're sitting, who's calling, who's following up on them. You kind of want that streamlined before they move into your loan application and your process CRM, sales tracker, and so on.
Sonia, well done, sales tracker. You know our industry.
I've worked in the back of those. All good.
So just with that marketing CRM, and you did touch on it a bit. What does it need to do? Needs to be able to hot leads, warm leads.
So you want it to perform several functions, because if it can perform several functions, you're not going to a million different places to get this information. You want it to collect new leads and inquiries. You want it to drive them to booked appointments by automation as much as possible. You want then to nurture those prospects, if they haven't booked an appointment, to continue receiving some sort of value and information. You want to bring them into your world and nurture them. And you want your marketing system to be robust enough to continue nurturing clients as well, to reduce clawbacks and increase that satisfaction and referral. So
we love reducing clawbacks.
Well, that's just it. You want to focus on getting a tool to do as much of that as possible. So you want that proactive communication with your clients and that nurture system, set of client pipelines, all those auto reminders and things like that. So that they're, you let them know you're doing the legwork for them and that you've got their back. So you're reducing the clawbacks, reducing any friction, and then it's likely to be reactive. When they say an ad on TV, or think about banks, or, approaching them directly for a better rate and so on. So you want to keep them in your world.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, not I guess. Yes, you're right. It becomes a very complex dynamic being a broker. You think about the being process driven and have your procedural documents in place. You look at what you need to do from the promotion, the SEO, the ads, and so on, advertising. Then you look at how that's got to feed into other systems, and I guess that's probably not the end of it, but there's a lot in that before you even start to write a loan. But these are important to be successful in business.
Yeah, exactly.
And in that, so when you look at your marketing, what is it that comes first in marketing? Is it to be strategic? Is it to be procedural? Is it a mixture of everything? What is it?
Yeah, sometimes it's, which comes first, the chicken or the egg. You kind of got to want to work on them, sort of side by side. But I think in most cases, when I speak to brokers, it's the leads and the inquiries that seem to fall through the cracks, and they're your missed opportunities. So that's an opportunity to, so there's adequate leads, but that's an opportunity to be more consistent in your follow-up. And usually, Peter, because I see, they've been using pieces of paper to jot things down and leads and opportunities on. And I've heard of someone where that blows off the desk of the secretary and it goes under the desk, and then they're hunting for pieces of paper. Now, we might laugh, but that's a real scenario, or a string of emails that get archived. So, you want something to shift the needle. It's follow up on those people that fall through the cracks. Yeah.
Okay. So what is it we should build then to make sure that we've got the right marketing system and it's got longevity? Is there something, I don't know, what do we build?
There's a lot you can build. You want to be strategic, relevant to your business. But if we're going to talk about some important subsystems, you want some marketing funnels to bring new business into the door. So you want a way to attract new business and capture them, and then some sales pipelines to progress prospects to becoming clients. So if you've got some of those systems in your marketing system, then you're in the right place, or you're heading in the right direction. And then, as you mentioned before, AI. So you're looking at follow-up systems, automations, and doing some educational-based marketing out there in your social world. Then you need to start thinking about adopting some AI to just speed up the process of generating some content. I'm not saying it does everything. You always need a human to check what AI can do, but you want to consider, can AI help support, which it can, help support me create some content in a shorter piece of time, perhaps increase the quality of what we're putting out there, so that then, you know, assists in generating those, you know, leads and inquiries.
So what's your hot tip on using AI? It's an interesting conversation. I held a World Summit in the US last year and attended some very interesting seminars on AI from a USA perspective and what they're doing over there. And I quite often hear it termed here in Australia, and I do it all the time myself. But I quite often wonder if people have got it right. So I'm curious, how do you see AI should work? And you touched on it, that piece about you need to check it, I think is one of the critical elements to make sure that it's right. But what's your take on AI?
My take on AI is it's here to stay, and it's going to, it's going to, what's the right word? I don't want to use the word that came to my mind. It's inappropriate. It's really going to be invasive in all areas of our world and our life, whether we're a consumer.
Terminator 13, is that what?
No, I was going to say impregnate.
Hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. But really, it's here to stay. And if you've been on the edge about it, on the, you know, on the fence about it, you need to take a stand. My recommendation is you start to adopt it, so you're one of the early adopters and you don't get left behind. And you use it with human integrity and oversight at all times. Yeah, that's my take. My team and I and our business is constantly working with it, checking it, testing it, you know, pushing it, and, you know, we're bringing it now to clients so that they've got a way to use it, leverage it, you know, in a meaningful way for their business, but with, as I said, with integrity and a human checking the output.
One of the things that I've found is people using AI don't put in enough detail, and therefore it's almost the garbage in, garbage out sort of situation.
Always that, yeah.
And you know, you wind up things being contextualized from another country. You don't realize that that's what's happened because you haven't specified. You want to talk about, you know, how does this play out in Australia, or whatever the right phrasing and terminology is. And all of a sudden you get all this stuff sort of go, yeah, none of that's really relevant here. So this doesn't work. But, you know, I think that the checking, but the detail in the question you ask is as important as anything else, because without that, you haven't got a foundation that's correct or solid.
Spot on. So writing the right prompts, knowing what to write, prompt engineering is huge. We're not going to go into any of that today. But one tip I can give anyone who's already working with some AI is to ask the AI to ask you some clarifying questions about your situation, your topic, what you're trying to put together. It will ask you some questions, and honest to goodness, if you put in, you know, some information in return, you'll get something much more valuable out of it. So something as simple as that. Hope if that's all you're going to take away from today.
No, I didn't know you could ask questions.
You can.
No,
you absolutely can ask the questions. Say, ask me. So this is what you give them a goal, what I want to do. Ask me some clarifying questions. You answer the questions, and then you'll get out much more relevant outputs. Yeah.
Because I keep being told the more detail you put in, the better the outcomes will be. But I hadn't thought about asking it questions. But and correct me if I'm wrong, so I am zero expert on this subject. It's just things I've been listening to and watching as this all rolls around. Is that you can continue to build on what you start. So you can sort of pose the question or the issue you want to try and resolve in your questions. It will come back with things, but then you can go back to it again, and it will continue to build on it. Is that principally right?
That's correct to some degree, depending on what type of, you know, one you're using and what level you're using and all those things. But yeah, that's the gist of it. But you don't want to make them too long or confuse. You don't want to confuse it. So if you're starting to go off on another thread, start a new chat.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All this work that we need to do. That's why we need experts in the industry to give us some guidance. So it's excellent. Nomiki, we're probably getting close to time. And look, with all that we're doing, I've got to mention beforehand, but it is International Happy Day, Happiness Day, or Day of Happiness, however you look at it. So hopefully that's made everybody happy today to understand more about what they need to do with their systemizations within their business and also from a marketing systems point of view. Is there any burning tip you want to leave us with before we wrap up today?
Yeah, look, there's a couple. Well, one is, remember to consider, not initially, because your other lead generation and not falling through the crack systems are really important in your marketing, but referral partner pipelines and systems down the track are key to think about. But one more thing, Peter, because we're talking about an ever-changing landscape in business, different rates, legislation, economy, all those things happening around people wanting a loan. Think about aligning your unique value proposition and your messaging and refreshing it. So a lot of brokers think I've set up my website and my LinkedIn profile and my social media profiles, and that's my messaging, and it's set and forget, but it's not. So just consider refreshing that to align
How often should you refresh that? I think it's a really important point. Is that something that's like an annual review or every couple of years, or what does that sort of look like?
It could be time-based. It's a good question. It could be time-based. It could even simply be that, oh, holy crap, there's a lot happening in the industry or a lot happening in the economy right now. And I know that people I'm speaking to, customers, potential customers are worried about X, Y, Z. So let's bring some of that into our unique value proposition and how we address that and how we help them. I think that's more important than a time.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that.
Yes, you're welcome.
Nomiki, I believe people who have joined us today are going to get some sort of little toolkit from you to help them in business. Is that right?
What I've done is it's behind a private gate, so it's not open to the public. But did you want me to give you the URL, or is it going to be sent out?
No, what we'll do
broker's toolkit.
We'll send it through in our CPD allocation email after the session. But what's in this toolkit? Give us a little bit of a headline.
All right. So
without giving it all away, because we don't want to give away all the history.
No, that's fine. But the unique value proposition I was talking about, your unique messaging, there's a couple of valuable trainings and a process and something to download to walk you through that so that your messaging is being refreshed, updated, revamped as required. Look at all the different components that go into an overall marketing system to build an engine, like a client flow engine for your business, what that looks like. And then there's some systems pieces, like there's a system for creating systems PDF and some training around, extracting the DNA of repeatability in your business, what's repeatable in your business, and, then what that looks like in terms of creating systems and a systemized business to scale and grow. So yeah, they're all eventually on one page, and you'll just sort of click and go to the videos and all the resources there.
Cool. And I'm assuming on there'll be links to people want to reach out to you for some guidance, assistance, engage your services at any stage, anything like that. It'll all be there.
Questions? Yeah.
Excellent. That's what we want. Nomiki, thank you very much. It's a really interesting conversation. Hopefully people have got a lot out of that, and stop and at very least look at your own business now. So say, well, do I have my process documentation in place and procedures so I know how to process things in a systemized way so I don't miss anything? And under the scrutiny of what we are within our governance obligations and due diligence process to meet best interest duties and responsible lending obligations, and we are one of the heaviest regulated countries in this sector in the world, it's important that those process documents and systems are in place so that you don't trip over your own feet, because that'll get you in all sorts of hot water. So it's critically important for within the business to get this right. And then, of course, if you want business, you want to market it the right way and get those leads flowing in, making sure if you're doing any search engine optimizations or Facebook, Google ads or any of that stuff, you're actually working it the right way and have a system that'll take you in a funnel that will actually take you on a journey of actually converting that lead into something. And we know not everything converts into something, but if you don't have a process and system in place and you don't have an automated system to help run that, it's just all wasted energy. It all winds up in the bin. So that just becomes a waste of time. So hopefully everyone paid attention. If not, there's also a toolkit you'll be able to get access to. So Nomiki, from here, thank you very much. Really pleasure having you on today with Q&A with Whitey, and we look forward to maybe having another conversation as we go forward and seeing what else we can dig out and help people with in this particular world. So thanks very much. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Peter. I did too. See you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye. Everybody, thank Nomiki for us. I think that was an excellent conversation. Well, I'll come back to the next piece on the toolkit, but just remember with our next Q&A with Whitey is about a month out, 17th of April. Special guest is Beth Comino. She's going to join us to have an interesting conversation about what she's doing. She's doing some really unique stuff from a lending perspective, and we can dig into what that is then. And of course, thanks to our sponsors that we mentioned beforehand and for all that they do to support us. Wonderful people. And of course, that all-important CPD code that you're going to get for the allocation of being honest with us today, together with the link to get that workbook that'll also have the link and connection information to reach out to Nomiki if you want her assistance. So that CPD allocation and code and so on, and those links will be coming to you together with the link for the YouTube channel if you want to watch this again, or if you missed it today, you know you can go and watch it. Anyhow, that's us for today. Take care. I've got to go get a plane. Nothing unusual there. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.